Hey, what's up? This is Eric from The Curse Within, and you're watching RadioActive.
Hey everyone, welcome to RadioActive. Today, me and Ian are joined by Eric from The Curse Within. How are you doing today, Eric?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Doing great.
Doing really good. Dude, first of all, wow, this is pretty cool. Eric, I've been a really big fan of The Curse Within for when did you guys put out that cover of Perfect Weapon by Black Veil Brides?
Man, I don't even remember. I want to say like a couple years ago, maybe 2 years ago.
It was around the time that the Restitch was getting ready to come out, right?
Yeah, they did that. I mean, let's see. One sec. I can Google it right here because I have my computer. When did it come out? Let me see. Let me check. Yeah, 2020. Yeah, so like, oh crap, almost 3 years ago now. We're
Whoa.
getting up there. I know 2020 is like 3 years in the rearview mirror now. It's crazy.
Yep.
I feel like anywhere between like 2020 and like 2023, it's just like non-existent just because COVID made everything feel like it didn't
I'm
even
still in like
happen.
2015. I'm still in like 2015 over here, so we got some catching up to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So me and Ian
Absolutely.
just kind of want to start this interview off by just talking about the band a little bit, just how like as far as how you guys all met and when did you form The Curse Within?
Yeah. So I knew Matt and Andres from high school. So that would be around like maybe 2012. I think I started just jamming with Matt, and then two other guys who are no longer in the band that I also knew from school and just from prior. Um, so a lot of the songs that are on our first EP, Seeking Vengeance, that came out in 2020, they were actually stuff that we wrote in high school. But usually when people ask, I just say like 2018, 2019 ish, because that's when we actually started like trying to make a push as opposed to just kind of doing it as a hobby. But yeah, I've known the guy since high school, so we've been kind of just doing it since then.
That's really cool, man. Um, So how does it work now? Three of you are in Canada, and geez, one of the members of the band is in America. Yeah.
Yeah, so I wouldn't really consider him a member. Really, we have like just this guy I met off Facebook. His name's Frank Smith. He's a crazy good drummer, and he does like session recording, I guess as like a job or as a part-time job, or I don't know what he does, but so he's our drummer, but yeah, that's how that works. He doesn't really have any like direct input or anything on the band. It's kind of just like we send him the songs when they're done, and he tracks the drums to them, and we send him like a drum like template, and then he kind of just does his own thing with it. Um, so yeah, I guess not really part of the band. It's just like us three, and we all live like within a 10-minute drive of each other. So the way stuff works now anyway, like people are usually like writing stuff like online, like the collaboration now. So like we don't even get together to write music anyway. We kind of just like send ideas back and forth like over maybe like a Dropbox. So that's kind of faster than getting everyone in a room anyways. It's kind of like too many like chefs in the kitchen thing. It's easier to like one person work on it, like put your ideas down, send it to them, like and kind of go back and forth like that. So that's mainly what me and Andres do. Matt isn't really super involved in the songwriting, the bass player. He's more so just like he's like a third guy, like, hey, do you like this? Like yes or no type of thing. But yeah, it's mainly me and Andres like sending back and forth song ideas.
And who do you guys kind of pull inspiration from the most as far as like your favorite bands?
Um, I would say it depends because I like different bands for different things. An obvious one, like which a lot of people will bring up is Bullet for My Valentine. I like their vocals a lot. I think guitar wise, I'm really into like I mean kind of that whole like 2000s metalcore stuff. So like As I Lay Dying, All That Remains, Kill Switch Engage. Basically anything from that time period is super up my alley. And then I'm also like pretty into like pop punk. I grew up listening to like Blink 182, Sum 41, Green Day, stuff like that. And I still like it a lot. So I think there's like a good portion of that sort of infused into our music as well. But I would say mainly like those two genres.
Eric, what are some of your favorite songs that you and the guys kind of like came together and worked on?
Um, I mean, honestly, that kind of changes all the time. I know like that's a common thing people say. But I usually get sick of the most recent song by the time we put it out because the amount of like time we put into like kind of getting it ready and doing all that stuff. But I would say like two that kind of stay constantly that I think are like really strong songs. I like Condemned a lot. And I also like As Kingdoms Fall a lot. But yeah, I kind of go through phases where like I like one a lot and then like I kind of don't like it that much anymore. There's a couple of songs I'm not really a big fan of just because like we wrote them a very long time ago and they're kind of old. And that would be Hellfire and My Revenge. Those are songs that I wrote like over 10 years ago, probably. And I just kind of like have moved on from kind of that sound, but I mean, fans like it. So if you guys like it, that's cool with me.
Yeah, no, I actually really like My Revenge a lot. It's a good one. But I would have to say my favorite song, oh God. I'd probably have to go with Deliverance because that's the very first one that like I think you actually reached out to me after I was like, holy shit, dude, Perfect Weapon. Whoa, guys, good job. And then you were like, thanks, dude, I appreciate it. Hey, you should check us out. Here's a song that we do if you like really thrashy metal. And it was Deliverance, and you guys remastered it, I believe, if I recall correctly, right?
Yeah, we re-recorded it. So like we redid the drums and we redid the vocals, and then we just took the guitars and the bass from the old session and like put new like amp settings on it, new plugin settings, so it sounds different. But I guess a remaster would just be like taking the exact same files and like remixing it. So it's a little more than just a remaster. But yeah, we redid those basically after um in 2016 we released the original version of Seeking Vengeance, which I did actually have it here because I'm setting up an online store, like a new store with our merch, which is like one of these shirts and also our CDs. So I have this sitting here. But this is the original 2016 version of Seeking Vengeance. And these are the versions that we recorded while I was in high school. And then after this, we did a bunch of singles, and one of them was Deliverance, one of them was Heartless, As Kingdoms Fall, and Become. And then we decided after releasing the 2020 version of Seeking Vengeance that we also wanted to go back and re-record all of those singles. So that's where like the redo of Deliverance comes in and all those other ones. And now they are all on a single release, which is this one, Heartless, with like yeah, that's the CD and stuff. So working on getting these out so everyone can get them online. But yeah, that's kind of the chronological order of that.
Cool. That's awesome, man. That's really cool.
And as a band, what do you guys hope to accomplish the most, and what are just some big goals that you guys have?
I want to go on tour. We have like a business mindset towards the band, so a lot of guys will kind of just be ready to go like hop in a fucking van and like drive around. I'm not trying to do that because in my opinion that's like a surefire way to get nowhere if you're gonna like drive yourself broke, like going to play bars for like a handful of people. So I want to do like an actual tour, and we're kind of just waiting until the time feels right. Maybe at the end of this year or early next year, but it kind of just depends on how fast the band grows. But that's a big goal of ours. And also getting out our next EP this year. Like we already have two songs out. The third one's coming out next Friday, or this Friday, I guess, because today's Saturday. So yeah, it's 6 days. Then there's going to be two more. So I want to finish getting that out this year. We are notoriously bad at delaying music. It's supposed to come out way earlier than it does. So if we can manage to squeeze out three songs this year, it's going to be good. But I'd say, yeah, mainly those two things. And then kind of just taking it, small goals, like step by step. I'm not trying to think too big. I'm trying to think of the smaller steps that get you to the big step, if that makes sense. So yeah, want to play some shows, want to get this EP out, and then hopefully, if the stars align, we'll do like a tour. But we'll see what happens.
Awesome. I guess it kind of tied into the next question, didn't it?
Yep.
But do you have like any other projects that you're working on right now, Eric?
No, right now it's just the Curse Within. Yeah, I mean it's kind of like Andres has another band that he's doing called Falstaff. And they're a little more like I guess you'd consider it like hardcore. So he's doing that, but yeah, for me it's just this. So but yeah,
Okay.
check out Falstaff if you guys are into that thing. They're really good.
Yeah, no, I would love to, man. I mean, dude, The Curse Within like kicks ass, so I would really like to go check out any music that you guys like are a part of. You guys are really, really good. Let's talk about your music video for Unbroken. It came out, when did that come out?
I don't know, a couple months ago.
It kind
Um,
of reminds
yeah, a
me
few months
of
ago.
like it has the setup for are you a fan of Black Veil Brides?
Yeah, more so their older stuff. Not really a fan of their new music. But yeah, I would say I'm a fan of them for sure.
Okay. Have you seen the video for Fallen Angels?
Yeah, of course.
That's kind of like when I saw like the green screen behind you guys, that's kind of what it reminded me of a little bit. I thought it was
Yeah,
really cool.
I wish ours looked that good, but yeah. No, for sure. I love that music video. Story behind that, pretty much. We went to a green screen studio to shoot it, and then it came out like crap. So we redid it in my basement, and I bought like it's actually right over here because I was using it for something else. I use it for like our social media videos and stuff too. But I bought like a green screen rig because you can get it on Amazon for pretty cheap. So we shot it again in my basement, and then I edited it together, and then I just found like some dude on Fiverr to like put the background in and stuff. It was kind of like a test run, so I'm not like super happy with how it came out, honestly. But I mean, there's a first for everything, right? So we're
Sure.
notoriously bad with like video and photos and stuff like that. So that's something we're also trying to kind of step up this year just to give us a little bit more legitimacy. Because I think the music does most of the talking for the band, which is cool. Like obviously, I think the music's the most important part, but just so you don't look like a bunch of dudes in a basement, which is what we are, but trying to not look like that. So yeah, we're working on getting our video game up for sure.
Mhm.
Sweet, man. That's awesome.
So for newer bands, like what you guys are doing, how useful is social media for you guys? Because I know you have quite a few followers on TikTok and Instagram.
I mean, in my opinion, it's everything. It's unfortunate that that's the way it is, but most of being in a band now has very little to do with like writing and recording and that stuff. I would say that's maybe like 10% of the job. And then everything else is just trying to like get people to give a shit about you, which the easiest way to do that is through social media. So, like, most of my job is like making videos and doing all that stuff. I don't know how you'd go about getting anywhere as a band without doing that stuff. Um, so yeah, I mean, like we tried like the old method of just like playing shows and stuff like that in our own city, and we did that for like years and years and years and got nowhere. So I finally said like, fuck that, I'm not do that anymore. I was tired of inviting my friends and my family to come see us play like at places. So I was like, I'm not gonna play again until I can fill a venue with like people that actually like give a shit about us and want to see us. So then we just took everything online, and I think we were a bit of ahead of the curve on that. Um, but I mean, now everyone's doing that, right? So yeah, basically, if you're not like on Instagram and TikTok and stuff, like you don't even exist. So yeah, super important. I used to live stream a lot more. TikTok maybe like 6 months ago, like they were big on live streaming. So like if you were streaming, they would like push your live stream out to like new people. So I was doing that until it kind of stopped working. The name of the game with social media in general, like I would say, as a band, but even just like as a business or like whatever you're doing, even for like your guys show or whatever you're doing, like there's always a window of opportunity where like they release something new. And then they push that type of content if you're taking advantage of it. So always be on the ball with what's coming out. Like live streaming had just come out, so if you were doing that, they were showing it to new people. I rode that horse until it stopped like being beneficial. I'll still live stream here and there because I enjoy doing it, but like it just doesn't have the same reward. So that's kind of why I don't do it as much anymore. But yeah, I'm always just kind of looking for like the next thing that Instagram or TikTok, like the next big feature they're doing. And then you kind of just try and like take advantage of it and do those things.
Sadly, that is the truth, Eric. It sucks, but like social media is quite literally the only way you're gonna get heard. If you have a like project that comes from humble beginnings, you could drive all over the place. And at the end of the day, the only thing that's gonna get you like out there is social media.
Yeah, I mean, people look at it this way, right? Like people spend like fucking 10 hours a day on their phone. That's where you got to be on people's phones, right? It's just kind of the way it is now. That's like I said, that's why I stopped playing shows. Like, even like just 10 years ago, maybe like there would be a lot more like people going out like on a Friday night. It's like, oh, let's go to like a bar and like check out a band that like we've never heard of, like type of deal. Like people don't do that anymore because if you want to find new music, it's on Spotify. If you want to find a new podcast to listen to or whatever, like you're just going to go on Spotify or on YouTube. It's kind of just the nature of it now. Like it's so accessible, like through the internet and through your phone. So that's definitely the place you got to be if you want to grow. And I feel like the first hump, like to get over, is getting like a small amount of people to care about what you do. And then once you kind of have that, it's easier to grow it from there. It's kind of like that first push. That's usually the most difficult. But yeah.
Eric, we have reached our final question here for the interview. Who would you want to tour with more than anyone? Like, let's say you were opening for like, since we really enjoyed the Trinity of Terror tour, Victoria and I did.
Hmm.
Let's say you were opening up for three bands. Who would they be?
On a side note, I bought tickets to go see that, and then because it snowed like crazy, they canceled the Toronto date, so I was pretty pissed.
Like, dude, they literally
Yeah, I would
Damn.
went
have.
to Canada and then they had to cancel that show, man.
Yeah, I see Motionless in White once, and it was like 20 minutes, and at the beginning of like when they played Warped Tour, like during the day. So it was still good, but like super short. But anyway, that was a side note. Um, I mean, there's two different angles I can go. I can go like what makes the most sense in terms of like what would help the band, or just like who I would like to play with, which there's some overlap there, but like probably like Avenged Sevenfold. Um, I would say probably like Avenged Sevenfold, Bullet for My Valentine, and like Trivium, maybe. Those are just three of my favorite bands, and also they're big bands, so it makes sense from a business standpoint. But I'd fucking open for anybody if anyone wanted to take our band on a tour. So
That's awesome, man. That's a pretty solid like list, man. I first of all, you don't really hear trivia much anymore, do you? Nobody talks about them.
yeah, they're kind of one of those bands that is like popular, but is always kind of under the radar.
Right.
Um, Yeah, for sure. But I mean, like, I went to go see, like, I've seen them live probably like 6 or 7 times, and they probably sell more tickets than like Bullet, for example. Even though like Bullet is supposedly like a much bigger band, there's some overlap obviously between like how many people listen to you and how many people would come out to see your show, but it's not like a one-to-one thing. Like, there's bands that have millions and millions of listeners or probably could sell less tickets than a band like Trivium, who has more of like a diehard fan base who like they all come out to see the show, type of thing. So, but yeah, they sell like a shit ton of tickets on tour. So, but I agree, they're not really like in the forefront or talked about that often.
And it's a shame too, because they're actually pretty good. I was about 15 and I think uh Anthem, We Are the Fire is the one that kind of got me like listening to them for a sec.
Yeah, I think the album that I got into them on was In Waves. I just bought it randomly on a whim at a CD store, and I was like, oh, okay, this was a good choice. But yeah, it's been a while. I've been a really big fan of them. So, and I'm happy that, I mean, they kind of had like a slow explosion in popularity. Like, I think finally they're at the point now where they're probably the biggest they've ever been, but it's been like a slow climb for them. So, I'm happy to see that they're kind of achieving things now. They were nominated for a Grammy, weren't they? Like a few years ago, I'm pretty sure. Um,
I think so.
yeah. So yeah,
I
good
know
for
for
them.
a fact In This Moment was.
Right. Yeah. In this moment, I actually just kind of I never really listened to them because I wasn't a fan of like, I don't know what you want to call their genre of music, like their newer stuff. But I figured out that like they have a couple earlier albums that are more like just typical like post hardcore or whatever you want to say. And I actually just got into like checking out those albums like earlier this week, on my drives to work. So yeah, in this moment's sick.
Oh yeah. No, I always get her name confused. Either
Maria Bra-
Maria.
it's Maria Brang. right?
Mariah Carey.
Mariah Carey.
I think it's Maria or Marion. I always get it
It's
confused, but I know.
Maria for
I
sure.
think it's Maria Brink. I think it's Maria
Yeah,
Brink.
Maria Brink, I'm pretty sure. Don't ask me how I
Yeah.
know that or remember it because I don't really listen to Spellman at all.
I do, dude. They kick so much ass.
I don't doubt it. It's just I don't know. I don't know why I don't listen to them more. It's like Beartooth. I feel like I need to listen to Beartooth more because I
You do
like
need
all
to
the other
listen to
the songs
Beartooth
I've
more.
heard.
You do. You need to listen to Beartooth more, Victoria.
I know.
What kind of music do you guys usually listen to? Well, I know you, Ian, because of what you mentioned before, but
I listen to a lot of like Black Veil Brides, Motionless in White, Sleeping with Sirens, and then some more like punk stuff like State Champs.
okay, right on.
Yeah, like bands like that. Anything that's in like the emo, metal, rock, like that kind of genre, I'm cool with.
Yeah, I saw Neck Deep last year, like late last year when they came here. It was really good.
If you were to put out like an album within a year or so, how many songs would you guys want to have on it?
Um, I feel like maybe 10 songs is a good album number. Not too many to overstay or welcome, but
Sure.
we're kind of I don't think there's an album in the works. We're just gonna keep doing singles and turn them into EPs just because it's faster that way. I think maybe if we got like signed to a big label or did something like that, maybe we would do an album, but otherwise there's kind of just no point. The amount of like resources and just time it takes to drop an album, like you're gonna not hear anything from us for like, a year and a half, 2 years. And if you're a big band, like Avenged Sevenfold can fucking apparently go 10 years without dropping an album. But like if you're a local band trying to get people to pay attention to you, it's not a good strategy to disappear for a year and a half to release music. So like even this current EP, we're planning on doing 5 songs. Three are done. One is about to come out, and then there's a fourth song that is completely done. We have to record it, but I mean, like writing wise, is completely done. And then there's like a possible fifth, sixth, seventh that are kind of all just like not finished that we could choose to finish one of them. Um, and then we'll probably just cut it there. And then the one after that, so like the sixth one, will just be like part of the next release. And we're kind of just doing that, like 4 or 5 songs in EP, put them out one at a time. When all 5 of them are out, like put them into an EP, move to the next one. I don't know if that's the best way to do it, but that's just kind of what we're doing. But yeah, no album in the works.
I cannot wait to hear the new single on Friday, man. You guys, like I said, you do a lot of really good guitar work, and that's mostly like what I'm looking for nowadays is like a solid guitar solo. Well, listen, Eric, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight, man. We really appreciate having you. This is a real honor. I'm a really big fan, and I cannot wait to see what you guys do in the future, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, even though I was late.